How's it going, crew? This is Happy Days, and here we are back in Hearthstone Arena for another drafting guide. So today we're going to go through the crowd favourite. We're going to do a Mage. Mage, possibly so popular in Arena because of the hero ability Fire Blast. Really useful for picking off those 1 HP minions. And also has some good card draw abilities. If you've got something like an Alkalite of Pain, you can hurt your own cards to get the card draw. Very useful. Okay, so what we're looking to do here is just take our time through the card draw. I'm going to explain some of the choices, and hopefully it's useful to you, especially if you're new to Arena, just to give you a bit of an insight, because a lot of the guides don't go into too much detail. So, starting off, your first 10 cards that you pick, you're pretty much going for whatever the best card is. Okay, so first 10 cards, go for the best card. I recommend using a drafting guide like Trump. Just Google Trump Hearthstone. He's got a pretty good guide on the internet. And some of the newer cards are missing, but you can usually figure it out yourself. So, for example, to start with, Sludge Belcher is very useful in Arena because of the taunt ability, and also its Death Rattle, which means if it is killed, it summons yet another taunt. So, quite useful. The reason I'm picking it over the other two, Vaporize, I mean, secrets are good, but I'll see if I get, I'd rather duplicate for Arena to get more minions. An Arcane Golem, you treat like a 4 damage spell. You pretty much, I'm very against giving my opponent a mana crystal, especially against some classes, they get out of control really quick. Although if you had nothing better, you could pick it. Alright, and just talking about duplicate. So it's a pretty good secret to use in Arena, especially because, well, it depends on your playstyle. If you're going a fairly even curve, which means you're not just spamming 1 and 2 mana cost minions, you're likely to duplicate one of your stronger minions, like a Yeti, or thinking of something else, like a Boulder Fist Ogre. So getting 2 copies of that is always a good thing. It's not bad to throw 1 or 2 secrets into your deck. It depends how you want to play. I will take it. I don't mind 1 or 2, and most opponents will think you've got Mirror Entity. So they'll often play a weaker minion during the next turn to test for it. So it even has some mind game benefits playing secrets as a mage. Alright, out of these 3, I'm going to take the War Golem. It's not a super high tier card, but for a 7 mana, 7/7 attack and health is okay. Frost Elementals, average/below average, and Icelands, unless you're going to build your deck around a Frost Mage style, which I am considering doing a run and just spamming cheap minions and spells to see how it goes, but I'm not going to pick that. If I get a few Frost Bolts or Water Elementals, I might take a Frost Icelands for the synergy, but I won't pick this first. Okay, so here's an example of 3 relatively poor choices. I'll actually take the Voodoo Doctor, just in case I don't get any other good early game cards. I'll take an Earthen Ring Farseer over the other 2 because mages don't have many sources of healing. And it's a versatile heal. It can be used for your hero or for minions, so that's great. Now, Boulder Fist Ogre is a great 6 mana card. Again, things like Cone of Cold, unless you're going to get a lot of Frost cards and you're actively trying to build that Arena deck, which I don't recommend because you never know what you're going to get. It's good for delaying. It works good if you get a Doomsayer, but you just can't count on these cards in Arena. And most Murloc cards are not worth it. Alrighty, so we're approaching our 10 cards, but we'll keep going. Spiteful Smith has a lot more value on classes that have weapons. Paladins, Rogues, Warriors. On Mage, you don't get the benefit of the 2 attack. Chillwind Yeti's a great 4, so we're going to do that. Polymorph's always useful in Arena. You'll find that later on in your Arena run, once you get 4 wins and above, you tend to run into legendaries, and it's very satisfying if you can just whack a polymorph on it. Very satisfying. So I'm going to take that. Zombie Chow is a great 1 mana card to have. So not going to pass that up. And here's our rare pick. And bit of a tougher one. Now so far, Gadget Zan can be really good. However, it depends if you've got a lot of spells or not. So you can't always just go where a guide ranks it. So a guide would rank Gadget Zan around middle for Mage. And looking at what I've got so far, I've got 2 spells. 2? Yep, that's it. Be careful about building a deck around 1 card. So it should just complement it. So say I'd gotten Fireballs and Frostbolts and all the spells, Gadget Zan would be worth it in my opinion. As it stands now, it's a 5 mana 4/4 that I might get to use a spell with. So it really goes down in value in my opinion. I actually find Crazed Alchemist can be really useful in Arena, especially against cards that have a high attack and a low defense, or actually other way around, low attack and high defense. Things like even an Alkaloid of Pain, if you switch it to a 3/1, you can take it out really easy with your Fireball. So really good utility card to have in Arena. The good old Mage card Flame Strike. If you can get them, go for it. And I usually will pick this over anything else. Just be mindful that with Arena guides, okay, this is a top tier card, and I'd pick it the first time, the second time. The third time I'd be starting to think about it, do I really need a third Flame Strike? And against 2 cards like this, I'd probably take a third one. And then a 4th one, you really have to think, will I get 4 opportunities to Flame Strike a full board? So value does go down. It's called diminishing returns. The value goes down the more of them you get. Okay. These 2 cards have added value with Mage, so they'll be rated higher in tongue-tied. They're rated higher in Mage guides for Arena because you can enrage them or give them bonus attack with your Fire Blast, your 2 mana spell. I personally find, especially against Warlocks, that the Gurubashi Berserker gets a lot of use. These 1 attack minions can enrage this really easy. The Raging Worgen is okay, especially if you play a Paladin and you can get it out early and enrage it on one of the Stormwind recruits. I think this lacks a bit of tempo as a later game card, so I'm actually going to lean towards the Raging Worgen here. Now, we've passed the 10 card mark, so for the next 6 cards or so, still picking the highest, strongest cards we can get, but just getting mindful. So I've got quite a few 3s now, so I'm lacking 2. So if there's a decent 2 and an excellent 3, I might go for the decent 2. Alright, so Water Elemental's a really great card for Mage. Does great against lots of weak minions. It can really soak up some damage, especially if you can get a taunt on it. Okay. Again, secrets for Mage. Mirror Entity can get you a good card, but it can also get you a weak card. So, you might get a Voodoo Doctor played because most players will test for Mirror Entity. So sometimes I feel it's better just to never pick it and get the credit of them thinking you've got it anyway and play other secrets like Duplicate or Counterspell. Because most players will never play like a Ragnaros into a Mage secret. Well, very rarely. Very rarely. That said, the other 2... the other 2 minions I'm not too mad on. I think I'll take the Junga Panther though. The Junga Panther. Alright, so here's another example. Chillwind Yeti is such a fantastic 4 that I think I'll take a second. But if I already had 2 of these, I'd be taking the Armani. Although that said, this is tough. Chillwind Yeti is fantastic. It's a very strong card. Although I don't mind the Armani Berserker. Although, it's tough. It's a tough one. You need a fair few 2s and 3s for Arena. If you get a slow start, it'll often mean you lose the game, unfortunately. especially as Mage if you don't get many flame strikes and spells. I'm actually going to go the Imani, and I'll explain why. Often, if you enrage this early game against, say, a Paladin on a Stormwind recruit, it'll be a 5 attack, 2 health card. You're going to draw out a removal really early, like a Hammer of Wrath or something like that. You might even get a Consecrate out early just to deal with this card. So it has a lot of potential value depending how you play it. You can enrage it yourself. You can enrage it on weak minions. And sometimes people just take it out straight away because they're fearful of it. So it has a lot of potential for some mischief, this card. Okay. Stormwind Champion's useful. Even for just buffing a weaker card like a Voodoo Doctor. So going to take that. Good late game card. Another Water Elemental's always fun. But I probably wouldn't pick a third Water Alley. Alright, now I can pick up the Chillwind Yeti I passed on before. Alright, so about this time of the draft, I'm at 18 cards now. I really need to start looking at where am I missing in my mana curve. So you can see here, I've got a big dip in 5 and 6 cost cards. Alright, so it'd really need to be a fantastic other card to pass on a 5. And there's actually a really good example here to illustrate that. So Spectral Knight can't be targeted by spells, so it can't be hexed or polymorphed or fire blasted. So quite a good card to play on your 5th turn. Undertaker can be an amazing first card if you've got Death Rattle minions. Oh. Okay. And I'll just fix this little problem and I'll be right back. Okay. So Undertaker can be fantastic. Now, its benefit comes from when you play a Death Rattle card. So, especially in Arena, when you're playing Constructed, you can pick as many Death Rattle cards as you want, and you see a lot of it in Constructed. But what I need to do before I pick this is actually have a look, how many Death Rattle cards have I actually got? No, there's one. Okay, so as you can see, 2. So, but only 1 is an early. Where was it? Was it Zombie Chow? Okay, so I don't really have a lot of Death Rattles, and I don't want to build my deck around that. So I will pass on the Undertaker for now. It's one of those tough calls. I mean, I could pick this now and get some great Death Rattles. I can pick this and get none, and then I'm stuck with a 1-2 that's going to stay that way. Because the chances of getting Undertaker and Zombie Chow early, not that great. So I'm going to take the Spectral Knight. Whoa! And we've got a legendary pick. Doesn't happen every arena run, so we're pretty lucky here. And we've got a few interesting ones to pick from. So, legendaries are all different depending on which run you're doing. So, Onyxia is a 9 cost card, but you summon 1/1 whelps. So, especially if you're behind, if you play Onyxia, you're going to get about 6 whelps, and also Onyxia herself. I'm assuming sounds like a female name. Okay, the other one is Archmage Antonidas. Now, it can be a lot of fun in Constructed, because anytime you spam a spell, even the coin, you'll get a Fireball spell. Now, again, the problem with Arena is that you don't often get to pick what you've got. So this would be, before I'd pick this, I'd need to have a look and see, okay, what spells have I got? So I've got Duplicate, Polymorph, and a Flame Strike, 3. And they're not spells that you'd want to spam. So I'm not just throwing out a Flame Strike just willy-nilly, nor Polymorph. So if I had a lot of spells already, that might be worth it. Onyxia is a very high tier legendary for Mage. Just because she gives you the backup you need, especially late game if you're falling behind. And Fugan, you really can't count on Stalag coming out as well. And it's just an average start, 5 mana. So we're going Onyxia. Nice one. Okay, definitely going to take the Frostbolt over a second Stormwind Champion. Frostbolt, great utility. Especially using it against Paladin and Warriors is preemptive thing. So sometimes I Frostbolt a Paladin on turn 3. if I have a feeling they're going to True Silver Champion me. Or you can Frostbolt Wind Fury minions to slow them down for a turn. Really good utility. So you can use it defensively or aggressively. And definitely taking a second Frostbolt. Probably not a third though. Alright. Acidic Swampoos. You really want one of these for your arena run. Why? So you can destroy weapons. Because you can count that any paladin you run into, warrior, rogue, is gonna, if they could have drafted one of their weapons, they're gonna have taken it. So I don't play it as a 2 mana card unless I'm versing a mage or a druid, priest. Then I can play it. But against weapon class heroes, definitely keep it as a utility card. Alright, second polymorph. This will depend on how you're feeling about it. If you like to have removal spells. So I don't have any fireballs yet, so this might be useful. Polymorph's actually excellent against Sludge Belchers and also legendaries. You can always count that, you know, you're going to run into, sometimes in your 12 match run, or 14 if you lose a few, you're going to run into a few legendaries, and it is quite nice if you can whack a polymorph on them. The other 2 cards are quite poor choices, so I'm going to take polymorph. Okay, last 6 cards. Now it's becoming quite essential to buff this 5 and 6 gap here a bit, and also buff up this 3 grout here. So we just want the mana curve a bit higher here and a bit more even going down, not this massive drop and then a spike there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 late game cards. So probably could just get away with 1 more 5 and 1 more 6. Definitely need a few more 3s. 1, 2, only 3 mana minions. I don't have many scientists to justify scientist secrets to justify. I've only got 1. I've already got a Jungle Panther. However, I really need more 3s. I'll take the Tiger here because I don't want too many stealth 3 mana minions. Okay. Now, this is a bit of a tough one. Fireball is an excellent spell to have. Especially, I could go Fireball, Frostbolt, and that gives me 12 damage straight to the face. So you can, you know, finish a game if you hold on to them. Delaran Mage is a pretty average card. So I think we'll take the Fireball here. Oh, click, click, click. Okay. Now, this is where I said I really need some 3s, and I do. It has some synergy with Duplicate. And even though I mightn't have both at the same time, a 4/3 for 3 mana is good, because I'd like to buff that up a bit. I've got 1, 2, 3. I probably could use some more 2s as well. Gosh, Knife Juggler is a good 2. This is tough. Knife Juggler is good. Oh gosh, Kirin Tor is good. Abomination is good. They're all good choices. All good choices. Knife Juggler is probably the best choice. Like, if you're just talking these 3 cards in a race, Knife Juggler is the best choice. Kirin Tor does buff up my 3s, but I do need more 2s, so I'll take that. Alright. Dread Corsair, no, because I can't use its flavor text. I can't reduce the cost of it. I have 1 Stormwind Champion. Second one might be fun. Or we do have quite a few 4s. 2 of them, 2 of them, 2 of them. 7. So it is a bit cluttered. I think we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Quite a few 7s. Remember, you can only play 1 7 a turn. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns taken up. Oh gosh. No, we'll go another Yeti over more late game. Ah, beautiful. Defender of Argus would be good, but I just have so many 4s now. I'm going to take a Mind Control tech. And last pick, we'll finally take that Kirin Tor to even that up a bit. Okay, that was a tough draft. We've got some great cards though. Absolutely great cards in the mix. Plenty of spells, plenty of high tier cards. Decent curve, so when we talk about curve, a couple of ones to get started, plenty of early game. Our mid game is very strong. And the late game, what I'm hoping is the extra 4s I've got carry me through turns 5 and 6 to 7, where we go straight back into strength here. It's going to be an interesting run. Hopefully this guide was useful to you and just gave you a bit of an insight as to how you can use those really good drafting guides to also, put your own choices in there too. Alright, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, leave a like if you would have picked anything different. And subscribe if you haven't yet. Love playing games, love playing all these different games. And I'm going to do this mage run now. Alright, stay happy. This is HappyDays signing out.